What's up YouTube, Devs of Wargames, bringing you as requested an updated Dark Magician, and straight away you can see by this guy right here, there's a little bit of spice in the deck. So, without further ado, I'm going to take you straight through the Dark Magician deck. You know by now, if you've followed me long enough, that this is my favourite deck. I've loved it since day one, original started at YUGIOH, and then obviously built up from that, and the Dark Illusion support was the best thing that could have possibly happened for Dark Magician. It's just a shame with a couple of bits of wording that they got wrong, so fingers crossed if you're watching Konami, let's try and get a bit of a word change on Eye of Tomice so we can search it off of Dark Magician's like Dark Magician's Circle or Dark Magician's Rod. Like, please, that would make my day. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started. So, Triple Dark Magician, original artwork of course for me personally. All the artworks are pretty much good, especially the most recent one that we in the UK received in the tin. That's always pretty good, but triple of that, staple of that. Triple Magician's Rod, again, staple, straightforward. Double Apprentice Illusion. Now some people play 3, I play 2 because in this version we're using it as more of a hand trap kind of ability of the 2k boost. Obviously its searchability is very, very vital to the deck. But with the other support cards we're playing in this deck, 2 is more than enough. 3 can get a little bit cloggy. 2 Magician of Dark Illusion. Now this card, as we get further along down the line, is actually more important in this version than it ever has been in the Dark Magician deck. And I'll explain that as soon as we get to the other card. We've then got the Wind Witch engine. Now, the best thing about the Wind Witch engine is it will drag out, so we've got a 3, 2 and 1. It will drag out any of your opponent's hand traps. Yes, it does lock you in, but it doesn't really matter because the idea is you do the Wind Witch engine, you end up with a Crystal Ring is amazing. If you don't end up with a Crystal Ring, there are other options, which when we get to the extra deck I'll show you. But then you normal summon your Rod, Rod gets you to search, then you activate Spellbook of Knowledge, get rid of the Rod, draw 2, and then hopefully you've got a Navigation and a Circle ready to go to get your Dark Magician out on board next turn during your opponent's turn and disrupt them massively. Now, there is a little bit of notice that I will say right now is, Game 2, if your opponent knows you've got the Wind Witch engine, I advise taking it out because straight away they're going to bring in Kaijus, they're going to try and stop you. Now, to cover the Wind Witch engine, just a straight exact swap, go for Artifact Scythe, Artifact More Attack, the new artifact, the like Force Hammer, I think it's like Manor, I can't even say it, I'm not even going to try. But straight away, so those 3 go out for those 3, and then the remaining 3 cards you go in for 3 Artifact Sanctum. People don't want Dark Magician to have back row, so they're going to be hitting your back row. Just so note, this is a side-in engine for the Wind Witch engine, so just a straight-up replace, nice and easy. Or if you want to, and you think you're going to be going first, you go straight into the hand trap engine. So that's an option for you guys to trial in now. Yeah, so if they see a Crystal Wind, they're going to put in Kaijus because they don't want that on the board. Of course, they're going to have hand traps as well to stop the Wind Witch engine itself moving off, but you've got to be very, very careful what you take and what you take out. And the other thing, when you put in the Artifact engine, is you can very, very easily put Waken the Dragon. Your opponent does not want Dark Magician having their back row. They've got to deal with Navigations, they've got to deal with Eternal Souls, Circles, Waken the Dragons. You can put in Starlight Road, that's always been an issue. If you play the Demise version, definitely put Waken the Dragon in because then you can start playing around with Strikes, Warnings, Mirror Forces, the whole 9 yards. Dark Magician is very versatile with its back row. Your opponent does not want it, and Dark Magician is probably one of the better decks right now to be playing Waken the Dragon, and of course more so than not the Artifact engine. The Artifact engine can be very, very important, especially with the amount of decks out there like Gokis that as soon as they go off, that you can go extra deck, extra deck, extra deck. If you stop them getting into their extra deck with Scythe, you can then burn them out with Dark Magician next turn. To finish off the monsters, we play the 1 Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. Seen a lot of builds playing 2 of this. Again, that's entirely down to personal preference. I like playing 1 of the monsters, and then when we get to the spells I'll show you, I like to play 3 of the Spellbook Secrets and 2 Knowledge, and I'll explain that when we get there. Triple Dark Magical Circle, again, staple, incredibly powerful card. Number 1, it's a shame it's targeted. If it doesn't target, it would be so much better. And it's a shame that it specifically says Dark Magician referring to the monster, not Dark Magician as a whole. Obviously there are reasons why it does that, and that is because it can't then like mill out a Dark Magician girl. You can add that to your hand. Anything that says Dark Magician in its name, you would then be able to add. Of course, Eye of Tomice. Now, obviously, Eye of Tomice refers. So Dark Magical Circle refers specifically to Dark Magician. Eye of Tomice refers to as Dark Magician as a whole, so that's why it can be used on Dark Magician Girl and so on and so forth. So I hope that's clear for you guys. Disappointingly, you cannot search Eye of Tomice off of Dark Magical Circle. If you could, it would make... What they should have done is when we got the Dark Magician Dragon Knight, they should have made an errata of Eye of Tomice that it specifically stated Dark Magician or something like that so that we could search it off the circle. Would have made that card so much more consistent. Anyway, I then like to play triple Spellbook of Secrets and double Spellbook of Knowledge. Now, if you want to play another blue boy, you take out one Spellbook of Secrets and drop that down. If anything, because of the Windwitch engine, I'd probably want to put Knowledge up one more. You need consistency in the deck, and the reason I play Secrets of Free is because it deck thins very, very consistently. And by getting 2 spells in the graveyard, it straight away makes your Dark Magic Inheritance, which can be very, very important, live. Just off of using the Spellbook engine, you're plussing 2, then that is live to then add a Circle or a Navigator or whatever you might be missing. 2 Allure of Darkness, I really don't like playing this card in this deck, but you do need to do it. And the reason I don't like playing it is because 9 times out of 10, you're activating Allure, it will be your Dark Magician that gets banished. Which is why in some of my previous builds I've played Return from Dark Dimension, just so I don't worry about this as much. Alternatively, if you don't want to play Allure of Darkness, these can be Pot of Desires, but again, that's even more risky. If Pot of Greed ever comes back, you know what them bad boys are going to be. But for now, 2 Allure of Darkness is more than enough in my opinion. Then we've got a couple of one-offs. You've got your Illusion Magic, your Dark Magic Inheritance, your Monster Reborn, of course, and then your Dark Magic Attacks. Now, you don't have to play Dark Magic Attack in this. This can be a side card if you want to. This could be any kind of spell that you choose. The reason we've got Dark Magic Attack is because it is then searchable off of your Eternal Soul should you need it, rather than just activating Eternal Soul and going, cool, I'm just going to leave it there. Activate Eternal Soul and search, get a usefulness out of it. And then if you activate Eternal Soul, it's a shame it's not Quick Play. If that's Quick Play, busted. Activate Eternal Soul, search out your Dark Magic Attack, special summon your Magician or Dark Illusion to the board, and then next turn you just go Dark Magic Attack. You're then forcing your opponent that they've either got to go chain, or they should be like, goodbye. So, and you don't have to do any more steps. All you do is you draw and then activate that, and that puts your opponent in a real sticky situation. So that's it for the spells. Moving on to the traps, you've got triple Magician's Navigation, incredibly powerful card. You do have to remember its negate effect in the graveyard. That is very, very important, so remember to do that. And then we're going to go on to the Spice. Now the Spice is triple Infinite Impermanence. Now the reason this is so good is if you don't have the ability to get into the Windwitch engine or you side it out, if you open up Infinite Impermanence and a Magician of Dark Illusion, straight away, during your opponent's turn, you're going to have a Dark Magician 25k Defender on board. And they can't clear it off by battle because it's during their first turn. The next thing that makes this even better is straight away, if you go, let's say this is your starting hand, you've got 2 and 3 random cards, right? You activate Infinite Impermanence. Dark Magician, Magician of Dark Illusion specifically reads is, during your opponent's turn, if you activate a spell or trap card or effect, except during the damage step, special summon this card from your hand. So you activate Impermanence, you negate one of your opponent's monster effects, you special out Magician of Dark Illusion. That's all groovy and good. If you then have, let's say out of the remaining 4 cards in your hand, there is a way of getting Dark Magician to the graveyard. So let's go with Amazingness. You've got a Magician of Apprentice of Illusion. You activate Apprentice, discard this Dark Magician, bring her to the board, search out your Dark Magician. By this point, you've either got a Rod or a Circle or some form of spell. You activate that, you then get to bring back your Dark Magician. So during your first turn, you have the ability for a rank 7. Now we all know with Dark Magician, with rank 7s, that can lead into your, where are we? Your number 42 Galaxy Tomahawk, which then leads into Saruja Firewall, however you want to play it. So during your first turn, it gives you a bit more spice and power and speed for your Dark Magician. And all you got to do is open up this with an Impermanence, and then some way of getting a Dark Magician to the graveyard, which isn't as hard as you may think. Finishing off the trap, sorry, you've got 2 Eternal Soul. I really don't like playing 3. It's searchable, and yes, it can save you. 9 times out of 10, I like playing 2 and then 1 other type of Reborn, whether it's Back to the Front, Call of the Haunted, something like that. Alternatively, I've gone for Skill Drain. Now, this, like I said, can be a different Monster Reborn, Call of the Haunted kind of style. But the Skill Drain, of course, is very, very powerful because Dark Magician's vanilla. You put them on board, you've got a big enough beta on board. What you've got to be careful for is right now in this game, the 3k beaters aren't really a dominant force. The 3Ks aren't running around. It's not as easy. There's not like loads of blue eyes going all over the place. So Skill Drain can be very, very helpful to slow your opponent down massively, leave them with weaker monsters on board, and then of course Skill Drain is always going to be a pain in the butt for your opponent to deal with. because they just can't activate effects. And most of your effects that are going to cause your opponent issues are your Dark Magical Circle. So if their monster effects are negated, and then you just go, cool, get a Dark Magician to board, activate Dark Magical Circle, banish it. If you've got an Eternal Soul on board as well, you just go Dark Magician into Link Spider, loop your Dark Magician, banish another card that might cause it an issue. Your Dark Magician is then going in for attacks, and it's always going to clear out your opponent's board, which is why Skill Drain can be a very, very important and powerful card for you. It is a shame that Impermanence is an expensive card, so the other alternative that you can play is Typhoon. Now Typhoon is obviously going to be a little less effective because it's not as, your opponent is always going to try and activate a monster effect, so Impermanence will always be live, whereas Typhoon is a little bit less consistent. But if we continue to get trap cards like this that we can activate for our hands that are actual hand traps, then your Magician of Dark Illusion is going to be even more important. Okay, now onto the extra deck, because I've spent more than enough time blabbering about the main deck. Extra deck is quite straightforward. You've got your 1 Break Sword for if you get 2 level 3s. This can be Reaper targets. If you want to play Reapers, some of these are very, very versatile. The only ones that are staple is a number 11 Big Eye, at least 1 Ibon Illusion. I like playing 2. Your number 42 Galaxy Tomahawk, because of the combo that I showed you in my previous Dark Magician video, where you make this, bring out 5 tokens, you go into your Kleehawk Genius, you then go into Link Spider, Proxy Dragon, and then you can go into a Saruja, draw 4, shuffle 3 back, especially some of the Dark Magician from hand, and start going ham. Red Eyes Flare, because unfortunately Dark Magicians struggle to OTK. They can get to 75 in 1 turn, and then you go into Red Eyes Flare, and your opponent's very, very stuck to kind of deal with this card. Link Monsters, I got 2 Link Spiders. You can play this at 1 if you want. The reason I've got this at 2 is because I need it for part of the number 42 Galaxy Tomahawk combo, and of course the Dark Magician Eternal Soul loop, which is basically if you've got Dark Magician on board, you loop it into a Link Spider, activate Eternal Soul, bring back your Dark Magician, then you can link that Dark Magician into another Link Spider, use Eternal Soul, bring it back, so it gives you a couple of turns to play with that. Again, easily taken out for a Reaper target if you wish. Our Link 2s, we've got Kleehawk Genius. This is part of the combo to go with your number 42. Because the tokens are machines, you go into Genius and then you move place further forward. We've got the 1 Proxy Dragon, and then a little bit of spice that I'm trialling out right now is Great Fly. Now the reason we're trying Great Fly is if my opponent does somehow interrupt my Wind Witch engine or combo or whatnot, rather than me being stuck with like a spellcaster in defense mode that's a K, or if however way they've interrupted it, this gives me the ability to put 2 of those together, make the Great Fly, and if my opponent gets rid of this by card effect, I get to add a piece back, which then means if you add the correct piece back, your Wind Witch end combo is then live again the next turn. So it gives you a bit of turn of recovery. It's not a staple, again, it's just something I'm trialing out right now. Easily taken out for other options, again, Reaper targets if you wish. But it's definitely something to look into, because 9 times out of 10 they are going to try and disrupt your combo with either a Ghost Ogre. So if they Ghost Ogre your Ice Bell, you're still going to get the search of your Glass Bell, and then you get normal summon your Glass Bell gets you your Ice Bell. You can then link these guys up, because you're not going to sink into a 5 wind. You link these guys up into Great Fly, and then if Great Fly gets destroyed by card effect, you get to add back your Ice Bell, or you can add back your Snow Bell, or you get to add back your Ice Bell. Obviously, because we're only playing 1, you add back your Snow Bell, you draw into another Ice Bell, and then Ice Bell goes ham. So it just gives you a couple more options to play around with. For the last of our Link Monsters, we've got the 1 Firewall, because it can be made with the tokens as well, so you don't have to go through all of the extra deck thinning to get into it. And then, of course, the Saruja, because it does become part of this. Now, alternatively, this could be a Borrow Load, but it does mean you have to go through a few more cards in order to get a Borrow Load on board. It's a little bit easier to do, but it would require you to go through both your Link Spiders. And then for the Synchros, you've got the 1 Clearwing and the 1 Crystal Wing. Again, Clearwing can actually be made if you've already made Crystal Wing, as long as you've got Clearwing left in deck, which you probably won't do, but there is a way of stopping at Clearwing rather than going to Crystal Wing if you need it. Alternatively, you can play the Wind Witch Winterbell, or if you wanted to, you could play a second Clearwing so that your Wind Witch cards aren't dead later on in the deck. But that is just a couple of options for you to trial out. In my personal opinion, right now, Dark Magicians are suffering in the sense that they haven't got the consistency power they need. They need a specific Dark Magician kind of power play that can get them into an indestructible Crystal Wing. But until they have that, because you special summon during your opponent's turn and you don't, your normal summon of Rod actually helps your consistency of the deck. The Winwich engine is the best way to go with it right now, in my opinion, unless you want to go more with... if you go for the Artifact engine, I'd say go with Pot of Dualities, Card of Demises if you want to, more so Dualities and Demises. You put in hand traps, so you would probably take out the Winwich engine. Anything that special summons during your turn, which is just the Winwich engine, take that out. That's 5 cards straight away. You go into your... sorry, that's 6 cards. Straight away you go into your Artifact engine. Then I would cut out 1 spellbook of Secrets and the 2 Allure of Darkness for triple Pot of Dualities. Or you take out 2 Allure of Darknesses and go in through double Pot of Duality. So there are a couple of options for you to trial around. If you don't want to fuss about the special summoning abilities, you go with that. You can also take out a bit more of the clog cards that you spellbook of Secrets, the whole spellbook engine if you wanted to, and put in your hand trap engine. So if you think you're going first, that's what I would do. If you think you're going second, if you're going first, I'd put in the traps, your artifacts, your Pot of Duality, stuff like that. If you're going second, I'd put in the hand traps and kind of move your place further forward that way. So it's very dependent on what you're playing, where you're playing, who you're playing against, and kind of the environment that you're in. Definitely worth trying out. I love Dark Magicians. I'm never going to give up on these bad boys. And trust me, once we get that fusion that they got in the anniversary pack in the OCG, the one that's like a dragon's mirror, you know, I'm definitely putting that bad boy in this deck, and I'm going to do you a build for that as well. But for now, that is everything. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys, as always, happy dueling. Also, YouTube, thanks for watching that video. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit that like button. And of course, don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button in the bottom left-hand corner and the notification bell so you don't miss out on anything. We've got more deck profiles, duels, pack openings, and many more Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos coming up for you all year round. So don't forget to stay tuned for all of that. Thanks, and as always, guys, happy dueling.